And then this was a trip where Susie and her husband came out for Andrew's commissioning, and Milt gave him his first salute. And there's
That's
Marianne and Suzanne, and Marianne husband Paul.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were very close. They took Andrew under wing when he was at San Diego State.
Yeah. Well, I remember meeting them.
Oh, do you?
I remember meeting them because we came out, me and Sabrina came out to visit you before we got married, and we went over to San Diego to see Andy, and that's when I met Marianne and them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I met them.
Dear souls. This is Jordan.
That is little Jordan.
And we were back here because your mother had graduated from nursing school.
That makes sense.
And we were giving, along with David, a joint party for your mom.
Yep.
And then here's,
I don't know who that is.
that's Iana.
Oh, okay. No.
No.
She's not too old.
It's a guy and a kid, a boy.
Grandpa Milton, Jordan, and Iana.
That's Iana. That's not the same time period.
No,
because Iana was younger.
And here, when your mom came out, she used to come out on my birthday by herself.
Yeah.
We went to visit Marianne and Suzanne, and that's Paul, and of course Milt. And there you are. You were living with us at that time, Caleb.
Yep.
And Susie and her husband came out one time, and your mom came out and brought the girls one time.
Yep, I remember. Whatever happened to that picture of the Last Supper? That was over your fireplace.
You know what? I gave it to Susie,
Okay.
and I don't know where it went after that. But I know that I couldn't keep it, and I did give it to Susie at the time. This was at Marianne and Paul's 50th wedding anniversary. Suzanne, she's gone now. Oh, that was just my favorite prayer. This is your picture for the mission field.
Yeah.
Look at Caleb, how young he was.
Heading off to Honduras.
And this is a story about Sharon and one of her cases. Yes. And Sharon,
that was when she was at St. Vincent.
Yes.
This woman was a Hispanic. They had just came back from the mission field, and Mom was working at St. John's at the time. It's now St. Vincent. But this woman was in a car crash at a railroad crossing, and a post went through the windshield and through, and she was locked and stuck in it. Well, she had only spoke Spanish, and so my mom was in the home health care, and so they assigned my mom to her case. And if I remember correctly, it was just a fascinating story that she had survived it. And Mom was kind of her translator because they had just got back from the mission field, so the Spanish was fresh.
Yeah.
But if my mom would tell a story, but I think the Oprah Winfrey show had called her and asking questions about possibly having them both on the show to talk about her recovery. But I remember once I became a police officer in Anderson, Mom kept her friendship with her
for a long time.
And I remember going over and kind of introducing myself to her family. Her family lived in the area that I worked or patrolled, just to kind of make that introduction. But yeah, I remember that.
Sharon was still involved with the Evangelical Faith Missions organization. She was the first woman to ever be on the board of directors, and she still is.
Yeah.
As you can see, she's the only female.
Yes, she is the only female, that's for sure.
I think there's another woman on the board now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but she was the first woman.
And this is Dr. Smith, who we were on the mission field with Dr. Smith.
And this man's name is Manley.
Yeah, it is, Brother Manley.
Was that L-E-Y or L-Y?
I think it was L-Y.
L-Y.
L-Y,
I think. But, yeah, she still
That
sits
was
on board. She goes
2012.
down there quite a bit.
And let's see what's...
Another
this was
first
the
cousin.
cousins. And here is Diane Holt. This was Uncle Bud's daughter, oldest daughter. And this was... Yes. I had never known her. I still am in touch with her. And she came down for this reunion. There's Kurt and Maritza. They were at that 2013. Yeah. And here we are.
So Uncle Bud being the youngest, that's his daughter.
That's his daughter. And she has had a daughter, and who was killed in a motorcycle accident. They were in Chicago with me when I got word from Steve that he was dying of cancer. We'd all met in Indianapolis, she and her sister, and Marianne and me, and we took the train up to Chicago to visit our father's home place, and we had a wonderful week there. And it was the night before we were getting ready to leave, and I got the phone call from Steve, and they were great support to me during that. But here we are at the reunion. There's Steve in the background pouring over all this. And you know what his comment was to me after he went through all the manly stuff? He said, "Mom, I really feel better about myself." Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know, but you know, he got some of the manly men's traits as far as being able to design things and figure out how to fix things.
Yeah.
He really
started to make sense to him.
And his stature was a manly stature.
You think so?
Short and stocky. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely stocky.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Yes.
in shape stocky.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he was always in shape.
Yeah, but he certainly wasn't his
He
dad's.
he wasn't tall and thin.
No, he was, and this is Diane and Marianne and Suzanne and me singing around the roller piano that they'd had for years. Here we are doing more of it. And this is Suzanne's granddaughter, Ginger, and her daughter. We had more fun doing
That's
that.
fun, yeah.
This was at the reunion, and Kurt's in here somewhere. It was in their backyard anyway. I had just had surgery and my back was hurting, but I love that picture, Steve.
It's a great picture.
And these were the first cousins here. There's Kurt. They came out the night before, the day before the reunion. We met up in Carlsbad, and I hadn't seen Kurt in a long time.
Maritza.
Kurt and Maritza, and then Mike Emmelman and Susie. Judy and Laura came up and met with us, and this was Steve's
Girlfriend.
What was her
I don't
name?
know. I don't know her name. She didn't stick around long.
No.
But she was there for Grandpa.
She had the bar. You.
Oh yeah, she had the bar down.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Well,
oh, yeah, I
She
know.
was there for
Yeah, she
Grandpa
was-
Dave's 80th
she was
birthday
there.
party.
Yeah.
That was one of the first time we met her.
I can't remember.
So
her
he had
name.
met her when he was living down here.
Yeah,
that's
and Steve was working in the bar. So
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
She
That was at the
was a
Cove.
bar-
It didn't last long.
I was gonna say I don't remember her outside of.
That was at the Cove Beach, and Susie came.
We must have been somewhere out
You
in
were
the
traveling
You were traveling.
somewhere,
You were the
and there were the
traveler.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
was
he
Boomer
was.
Beach
He was
side
a
of
lot
the
shorter.
Cove.
I don't remember Steve being short, but he was short.
Well,
he wasn't tall.
he was so broad though,
Broad.
and he was a big presence.
Well, he had a big presence
Yes.
for sure.
No,
Very deep
Steve
voice,
was
but he
only
wasn't
about
tall.
5'9"
Yeah,
at the
that
most.
does favor the manly family. Because I mean, looking at Kurt, I mean, he obviously favors his dad.
Yeah.
Of
This
being
was
tall
his.
and thin.
I put this in after the fact,
Yeah.
and then this was a sweet letter from Marianne. And let's see. Oh, here are the other pictures. This was when I told you. Diane, first cousin, Uncle Bud's daughter, okay, and Katie came to Pacific Beach, and we girls got together and had, Katie wasn't with us at that point, but it was just Diane Holt. And here she is again. Katie and her husband did come see me in 29 Palms, no, in Indianapolis after I moved here. Yeah. She and her husband, they lost a son through alcoholism.
Got a
This
lot
was
of
just
alcoholic in the family, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
alcohol. Yeah.
This was just before I left 29 Palms, and I came to San Diego, and Suzanne and Marianne took me down to where Daddy
you
Bill
met, yeah.
was. Here we are in the cemetery too, where they were buried next to each other, the Manley boys.
They were pretty close, it seemed like.
Yeah. Well,
all the
Marianne-
pictures, they seemed to be really
Marianne
close
is the
as
one that
family.
has done all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these were just additional
Pictures of
pictures
Jordan
after
and
Milt
Steve.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put it away. Oh, wait, there's one more.
But wait, there's more.
Here's Jordan getting married.
Uh-huh.
And
Where'd they
Dr.
get it? Did
Dan.
they get married in Indianapolis?
Some venue in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it is, but these are,
Yeah.
and I
beautiful
even
kids.
got Stella, her
Yeah,
new baby,
She's beautiful.
in there.
They're fun too.
Yeah.
They're a lot
So
of
that's
fun.
it.
Well,
Oh, that's beautiful.
that's a lot of history we covered in an hour or two. I don't even know what time it is.
I don't know.
But here you are. You're pushing 90.
I will be turning 89
Soon.
in March,
In
going
March.
into 90. Yeah, the way I tell age.
Yeah.
March 14th.
My mother's birthday. I was born on my mother's birthday.
I didn't know that.
And I remembered that. Now that's an amazing thing that
Well,
I don't
lucky for
remember
you, your
anybody.
mom had the
Do
same
you
birthday.
remember that really?
I just said March 14th.
No, do you remember her birth?
Do you remember when I was born?
When you were born?
Yeah. You were 4.
Oh, I think I was playing basketball.
Yeah, he's busy. He was
I know,
busy
I
throwing
don't-
another
I don't
party.
remember your birthday. I was only 4 years old.
I know.
Life changes when you bring another kid into the
Yeah.
into the family. I'm sure life changes.
Well, I'm told I was a wanderer.
Oh.
like you,
Don't
dis-
You
you
don't
would
know
disappear.
about this. Mother used to keep him on a leash. No kidding.
It was probably the same leash that Daddy Dave beat his butt with.
No, she put
different
him.
leash.
We had a laundry yard. You know, you hung your laundry out in those days, your wash,
Sure.
and it was a long,
Still
narrow,
can today.
gravel place next to the house, and it had the clothesline, the middle clothesline, and she would hook Peter up to this leash like a dog around his neck,
Yeah.
and
On the clothesline.
he'd walk back.
Well, hey, gotta keep.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You remember him being on a leash?
I do. I remember seeing him walking up and down. It was such an
So if
So
you
I-
hold
yeah.
on, if you remember it, you would have had to have been 4 to remember those things. Which would make at 7 or 8 years old,
No,
you're still
I-
on a leash.
No, that's it.
No, yeah, I was
It's just-
younger than that. It's a mental
It's just
picture
it's,
that I
okay,
have.
but you
have in
envision.
my-
Did
yeah.
you
Could have
ever?
been when
But he
Mother
might-
talked about it a lot. So
Okay,
you,
so you
know,
could have
be
just
in
I
there.
have
envisioned
the
it.
mental image.
Yeah, I would
of
get
him.
on that. The reason I was on that is that I would wander off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one time they couldn't find me, and I was at least 10 blocks away from the house. And I
What
was
were you
on-
doing?
I was only
Just
3 or 4 years old.
walking.
Just disappeared.
So then she put me on this
Yeah.
leash.
Yeah.
So I'd go out to the end, where and it'd hit the post, and I'd lean out there. And then I'd walk down the other side, and I'd lean out.
Yeah, they're just like a dog.
Lean out back and forth, and
Yeah.
one day the leash went loose, and I'd get out to that point and I'd lean, and I think I was still on that leash, and I'd go down the other side and I'd lean.
So what?
My mother got a lot of laughs.
I bet that would be funny. That'd be funny to see it. And one day you just didn't have the leash, and so were you trained to just lean?
Yeah, that's
And
it.
not-
The
yeah.
leash was
The leash is gone. You still did your thing.
He
You
didn't
kept
know he was
leaning
free.
until
that's it.
until they trusted you enough to give you a paper route. Apparently,
Well, that was late.
that was
Years later.
Years later in life. But
We had, I remember it in my childhood mind as being a large home, corner lot. We had a big grassy area in the backyard where the boys would play football. I remember it seemed so
how
big.
close were you to the coastline?
2 blocks.
A couple blocks away.
Yes.
Yeah,
Streetle?
Yeah,
Oh, it was about 3 blocks.
3 blocks.
3 blocks.
Three blocks.
2 blocks down to the highway, and then it was another block to the.
Okay, you had to
To
cross
the
the
ocean.
highway to get to the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
and I can remember thinking this place was huge until I went
was,
back
yeah.
as an
Yeah.
adult. And
Well, when I lived with you, we spent some time in La Jolla, and we walked all day. Kind of, you showed me the chapel you and Grandpa Dave were married in, and I think the house that you lived in still stands.
it was at that point.
It was. It's
But
not any
they-
longer.
After I married Henry and we came out, I was showing him where on Eads Avenue where I lived. And we were out of the car and I was looking at the house. It was still there. And
With a little fence along.
with a little fence along the
On the
front.
front is a ranch style home.
No, it was what I would
Single
call
story?
It was a pre-World War II bungalow type of
Okay.
frame,
Okay.
single level
Yeah.
house. You walked into the
Yeah.
living room. There was a bedroom and a bedroom and a
Yeah.
bedroom and,
And
the
then
kitchen.
the kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah, and a dining room in the back.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in Germany, for years, I would dream about that house.
Mm.
And it would just be that I was in that house. Well, this day, I'd married Henry. I was showing him where I lived. And this young man came out and he said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, I grew up in this house." And he said, "Well, I just bought it. Would you like to come in and take a look?"
Really?
And I walked in that house and the same wallpaper
Yeah.
was on my bedroom wall.
Scary.
Same kitchen counter that Mother made, that red counter that folded down from the wall, still there. The
Wow.
old big sink, still there.
40 some years later?
Yes.
40, 50.
Yeah.
Or 40, yeah.
Identical.
Yeah. That's
And he
crazy.
took me in the backyard and he had some abalone shells that he had gotten off the coast.
Yeah.
Gave me a couple of abalone shells. The avocado tree was still in the back. The garage was still back there. Do you
That's
know,
fun.
I never dreamed of that house again after that.
We just had to
It
had to
was
see
a closure
it.
or
Sure.
something. Yeah,
Sure.
and this
You
young
should have
man-
bought it.
Well, no.
You could probably not can't
but
afford
the
it, but-
next time I went down, the house had been taken down.
Okay.
And there's
I-
a 2-story stucco house there now. Just crammed
I remember
into
you
this
showing.
lot.
I just remember seeing a house, but it could have been the new house. That was just
It
have been the
probably
lot.
was, but the little wall, brick and fence wall in the front was still there.
Was still
They
there.
kept that. Yeah.
And now that we've talked about it, I learned another episode of my life that helped me.
Okay.
change
Life
my-
lesson.
The lady that lived next to us wanted her house painted. So I said, "Sure, yeah, I'll be glad to."
Paint your house.
No, the painting is different. So I got to get she wanted her yard cleaned up. It was a mess. You know.
She was a widow lady.
Landscaping.
Yeah,
older lady.
mow the lawn,
Yeah.
trim all the
Just take
stuff.
care, yeah.
I worked on it 8 hours, and I mean really hard because I wanted to really impress
Impressive.
her. So I went up and I knocked on the door and I said, "Mrs. John, I finally finished. Would you take?" Oh, she looked around. Oh, isn't that nice? And so she said, "How much you want?" And I said, $1 an hour or something like that.
Okay.
She misunderstood me, came out and gave me $1.
$1.
$1. I sat there and I said, "What have I learned today?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Never
You got to know the
forget that.
deal before the work.
I said, "I have to be more lucid or more
Yeah.
specific when I
Yeah.
come."
Communication.
Yeah, there was.
You also need to know what the price is. I wouldn't do any work without knowing what I'm getting for it.
Well, I thought it was, afterwards that she would understand $1 an hour.
Sure. Yeah. You did not
Oh,
articulate.
I went home and told Bo, but she broke out. She could barely stand up. She was laughing.
She was laughing because you got. Well, you were quite, from my discussions with Grandma in the past, you were quite an entrepreneur in ways of trying to make money as a.
I
as a
don't know
young
if it'd be
teen.
called an entrepreneur, but a guy trying to make money. And
Yeah,
with a bunch of other guys. that,
trying to make money.
you know,
And so, aside from doing some landscaping work, you guys did some dances. You would host some dances.
yeah, we always did one.
One dance.
Yeah,
And
we-
that wasn't a
that
good
was it.
business motto. The business motto was wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the venue was at the Del Mar racetrack.
Right.
I mean, that's a big venue.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you were able to manage that in there.
And he was like 17.
And Grandma talks about you being one of the most popular kids in school, and she
That's
rode your
probably
coattails.
what she remembered. I don't remember.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
But you were involved in class president and everything else.
Politics,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the
Of
politics. And
not
we talked
just-
a little bit
Not
about
just
that.
class, of the whole student body.
Yeah.
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 He was very much involved
Yeah.
in that and tried to get me involved in it. And it was
It
not,
wasn't your thing.
I wanted to be a majorette, you know.
But she also did some work for you, and I hear that she never got paid for her labors.
I don't know. I do not remember.
And so-
What was that?
all the newspapers.
You would get me up in the morning to fold your newspapers.
I was teaching you a trade.
That's right.
And
I was
make
helping her
your, and make your
future.
bed.
Oh,
yes, you'd offer me a dime.
Yeah, we tried to do a lot of things. In fact, we have horse racing at Del Mar Racetrack.
Okay, so that was part of my. It was a horse race track.
Yeah, it was a horse racing
Oh,
track.
Thoroughbreds, or was it like
came
salty?
down-
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
it's one of the
People came
larger,
down from
most
Hollywood.
famous. In the
How
country.
did you manage to get that venue?
I don't know. I don't know, but we did get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But one year we decided that as you go into the racetrack, they have touts out on the there. They have little bet sheets and that, and they'd sell you a sheet for $1 and have their guesses that what horses would win. It was a big tip sheet.
I got you. So yeah.
So Skip Falk, and I said, yeah, those guys are making a lot of money. They write up these things. So
They
we
sell
did. We
them.
made up a tip sheet this particular day, and sold about 2 of them out of it. We had 50, and we were selling them for $1 a piece.
How did you know which horses to pick?
Well, you guess. You guess. And
What was your knowledge
there's
of
a
guessing?
There's a racing form, and
Okay, so you
it
just
gives you
look
some
and
hint.
there's some odds and that kind of thing.
stuff,
Okay.
the breeding of the horse, we're not that far, but we
Right. You had it.
we had 2 guys we had 6 winners that day.
Really?
We never did it again, but I imagine those 2 guys
They
are
made-
saying, where in the heck was kids?
Let's find them kids.
It was
You pick some-
unusual. It was just unusual.
Yeah.
You
If
pick some
couldn't bet,
winners.
but it's just
Yeah.
one of those unusual things.
Yeah.
6
Pick-
winners.
Grandma Gaines
That's
used
huge.
to go to the horse races. She won the Daily Double one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she liked it.
Well, we have a horse race track in Anderson, and I didn't grow up in that scene, the casino gambling scene. That wasn't the scene I grew up in. But my wife grew up going to the horse track with her dad
Oh, really?
and her grandmother, and as a minimum $2 bet. So you
Sure.
take
Oh, yeah.
$50, you could be there for hours, guessing horses. But her dad would study the book and the jockeys.
Was it a quarter horse?
They were standard. Well,
Or
Hoosier Park had thoroughbreds,
Yeah.
and then they eventually went to sulky, like the little
the
little wagon,
buggy?
the buggies. Yeah,
Oh, man.
those are fun too, and that's currently what they do now. So they got rid of the thoroughbred, but when Sabrina was growing up, her dad would they would bet on the thoroughbreds, but there's a booklet, and when we were dating, that was one thing that we went and did, but all those numbers in the booklet and the jockeys and the names of the horses were just crazy. I have no idea how to pick a winner here, but they would march the horses down in front of everybody.
Sure.
And so I caught on to what her grandma was doing, was picking the horse based off of the look and what,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
what her style was, and then one day she couldn't see very well. She picked the tractor that was raking the. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't pay much attention to her anymore. But I was never good at the horse track races. So you guys, how old were you? You can't gamble at that age.
I was in this 15, 16, 17.
And you were able to go to the racetrack?
Well, yeah.
And you're able to? Could you gamble at that age?
Well, no, we couldn't go and buy a ticket or anything, but we could go
You
into
just
the track.
okay.
Yeah, we'd follow.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you can now.
Yeah,
today,
we'd
too.
follow in some couple.
Yeah,
It wouldn't go.
yeah, no.
But
Sneaking
the tip
behind.
sheets you did outside, on your
You
on the
created
road,
your tip sheet.
and these 2 guys decided.
They won.
Then they figured we can't win. With these.
Yeah,
We'll
we're not
try this
guessing.
guy, and
Yeah.
And then Skip and I thought, well, we've done that.
Yeah, you only did it once.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
didn't, so it wasn't good enough money to go back.
Well,
and
if
do
you only win $2 and it costs you about $3
it. To make this
all
stuff,
the
yeah,
tips,
it's not
tip
good
sheet.
profit. Not good profit at all. Well, I've always been fascinated with the two of you's relationship. I feel like it's been very close,
Yeah.
and through the years, I've just heard stories from Grandma about you, and so that's why I really wanted to make this trip a priority, and I very much appreciate our time. And I have a lot of material to go through and put together, which is good. But at this stage of your guys' life, why aren't you guys hanging out together more often? Why aren't you living in Indiana or you living in Arizona? Why has that not happened yet? And if I need to stay in my lane, you can just tell me to stay in my lane. But there was talk about you coming back.
Never.
Yeah. And I was sitting out there at 80 degrees on December 30th, and I can understand why you never leave.
No.
But
Well, I came because of health issues and being alone and knowing that having taken care of my mother
yeah,
and her end of her life,
yeah,
that I needed to be near my children.
yeah,
Because when Mother and Daddy died, Mother was failing, I was living in Indianapolis and my kids were still teenagers, and it was a real hardship for me emotionally to try and keep track of my mother. I had to depend on her. Her neighbors to tell me what was going on because her health was failing. And I just thought, after Milt died, I thought, I'm not going to do that to my kids. It does not pay to choose a place over family. Do I love Indiana? I'm still...
You're on the fence.
I'm still a California girl.
Yeah.
I still love the West, but family is important to me now. And I wouldn't change that for anything because I get to see you kids growing up and stuff.
That's
I
true.
would have missed all of that. But I think Peter and I, early on, and I'm just speaking for me, but I left home at 18 and went to Germany for 3 years, had no contact with family at all.
Yeah.
I got out of the nest early, and Peter went into the Air Force, and then while I was in Germany, he married and went to Michigan, and so our breakup, happened early. We always kept in touch, but we were used to going our own separate ways.
Yeah.
Not like the McKnight clan, who have stayed within the same area year after year as generation and generation grow up.
A little different.
Much different.
A little different dynamic.
Yeah. And now he doesn't want to leave the West. I don't blame him. No, it's a great place to visit.
Yeah.
And
well, we need to get you a place out here during the winter.
that's what everybody keeps saying.
I know.
That's what everybody keeps saying. Well,
We need to make that
pitch
happen.
in, guys. I
we
can.
do.
Yeah.
I think we can make it happen.
Get me a
Grandma.
winter home, and you're all welcome. But you pay the bill. Sure. I'm amenable to that.
Well, I just I've really enjoyed seeing the two of you together. It's really fascinating.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what
Well,
that
it's
is.
fascinating.
No.
We are really two different people. She's much more caring, and she is.
I don't
one of
think
the
you're
nicest
different at
people.
all.
And I'm just a wanderer.
Well,
piece
you
of-
probably need to put a dog collar on him to keep him close.
No, he's more of a people person. He's more of an extrovert, and I'm more of an introvert.
I don't think so. Don't sell yourself short.
Oh, well, I
Everyone
don't
loves
think-
Grandma Pat.
don't
Everybody.
think he is.
I have cousins that don't know you, and Benji and Buckle and all them. They all love Grandma Pat back home. I'm just telling you, she's something special.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that personality-wise,
Yeah.
you saw him in church today. He's up and he's, moving
Well,
around and greeting people. I don't do that.
Well, it reminded me a little bit of Grandpa Milt in that
Yeah.
sense of
Yeah.
knowing it's a community,
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
know everybody.
It's a different personality trait, and he's male and I'm female, so that might have something
Yeah.
to do with it.
Well, his pew looked pretty empty. If we weren't have been there, there's an empty couple seats, so we're gonna have to fill those seats. Well, the one lady that sat beside me, she's like, "You're in Peter's hat seat. You're taking Peter's seat for his hat." I was like, "Oh, well, that's part of it." But
Annette
she's a
came
nice
up,
lady.
Annette's
and
very
came
nice.
up at the fellowship, and she goes dancing, doesn't she, with you, Annette?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a
she's very
castle
nice.
of gals.
You have. I know why you want to stay here. Makes sense. I like
Oh.
it. Yeah, I like it. It makes sense. It makes sense, and that's where my confusion was coming into this is why aren't they living closer together? But It makes sense now.
We never have though. After
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. That makes sense
but it
because
would be a good because of the age and the cold. What cold does to you? They come up here for a couple of months.
I think a couple months is worthy.
We can let's talk about that.
I
Maybe
think
we
should.
can work something out.
I think we should. I think if you're not careful, my mom and dad are going to come with her, and then they're here for the next couple
Well, no,
months.
that'd be fine because they won't stay at my place.
No. They'll be with her. So we need to find you a place like this. And then when mom and dad won't stay for a couple months. They're too involved in ministry back home. But they would be a place where we could then come to visit. I doubt my wife will come out here, but I like it out here.
There's all kinds of rentals out here.
Yeah.
You did that when I lived in 29 Palms. It's a repeat of that.
Yeah.
I was away all those years.
Yeah. Well, as
and it
easy
came
as
out.
our travel's been, it doesn't make sense why we can't get you out here for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but
that can be
I'm
tough.
settled where I'm at.
I know you
don't
are.
want to leave my home. I don't want to leave
All
my
right, well,
neighbors.
see, there we go. She
It's
said
too
we
much.
could find her a place, and now she's already
No, I'm just
backtracking.
saying, but I would have to arrange it where I kept
Oh, I
my
know.
other place.
Sure, yeah, we
I
will.
wouldn't want to give up that.
No, you don't want to move out here.
No, it's just
No,
temporary.
I just want to be a
No, you
snowbird.
really cut into my time.
That's right. His dating scene, it would interfere with that. She'd be a third wheel. We
She
can't
would
have.
fit right. There's a bunch of ladies up at the church that you could have a lot of
Oh,
fun
I'm
with.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I met Bunny. Did we tell you about Bunny?
Bunny?
I don't know.
No,
Bunny.
we haven't told her about it.
Bunny. Well, he met up with this lady, Bunny, talked about where they were from and stuff. She was in drill team when I was a majorette in La Jolla High School.
And she lives here?
And
What?
she lives here. Yes. And we went, the last time I was here in June, we went and had tea with her.
And you remember her from high school?
No, she was.
Or
she remembers me. I was 2 years
Ah.
older than she was. She
Okay.
remembers me.
Wow, what are the odds?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The odds, I keep thinking, and it probably happens a lot.
I bet
But
it
the
is.
odds are still very, very high.
It's slim
They're
to
in the
none.
millions to one.
Yeah,
So
kind of like the lottery odds right
I
now.
would,
Yeah,
to
the odds are pretty
have,
big.
Yeah.
it would have been even more amazing if she had been in the same class I
Yeah.
was at. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how did you meet her? How'd you meet Bunny?
Probably she was with the group where I was starting to dance with Annette, and when I met
Yeah.
Annette, and she's up at the church.
Up at the-
Gotcha. Well, that's a good community. It was a very good community-based church. So I'm glad you found it. That's a good
Yeah,
home
we
for
went
you.
to a number of them.
Yeah, trying to
till we
find
found the right fit.
Yeah. A lot
But
of.
excuse me, I
No, you're
interrupted
good.
again.
No, you're
The
good.
service today was really interesting.
it was-
I
yes.
thought that was really, and I want to go back and congratulate those because that was a good.
I really enjoyed it.
You got to know who's
did
running
what?
that church.
Yes. So
And
many
what they do
volunteers.
to bring
Oh
it
my
But it
goodness.
also kind of brings to light that there's a lot of moving pieces
Yeah.
That's right.
to make that
Yeah.
church function, and that's
Yeah.
why we're called the body of Christ,
Yeah.
right? We're the
Yeah, I really-
we all come together. Well, I went through a membership class at our church, and I may send you the book. It's very fascinating, but I was being selfish, looking for a church to fit my needs,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
doing it for the wrong reasons. And the pastor CJ said, "This ain't a country club. Yeah, we're not cuddling to what you want.
Yeah.
This is our goal, our mission."
Yeah.
Is to grow the kingdom of God, and so it's serving first, and so he didn't care about my needs much, but it made sense.
Yeah,
But it
definitely.
takes, man,
Well, it's just
Takes a
like the
lot.
song that they kept singing today between each
Make me a
phase.
servant.
Make me a servant.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
all about
that's
serving.
what we're supposed to be.
I love our church's one of our mission statements is to be passionately in love with Jesus and inspired to serve our neighbor, and that's what church is. That's what it is.
That's a very good, yeah.
That's what it is. Whether you're transporting people to and from doctors' offices, or you're ushering people, the cowboy security group, everyone's got a purpose.
Right.
with the end game of growing God's kingdom and building His church.
Right.
It's fascinating, but it took me years because Sabrina and I were looking for what we wanted in a church, and that wasn't what God had in mind.
But you found what finally fit, though.
We found what fit after we changed our way of thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
We had to shift my thought process of it's not about me.
Yeah.
So our prayer turned to, what do we want in a church? To God, show me where we can serve in a church. And so it became focused on serving, not being served.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
And then it became a really good fit, and we love it, obviously.
Well, and so Peter's going to be an usher.
That's right. Yeah, you're
It
signed
was
up.
a sign.
into
It
that.
was a
It was a
sign.
sign from Grandma Pat.
It was a sign. I
It
mean,
was a sign from
and he
Grandma
chose
Pat.
the
I'm
table.
going to ignore you right now. I'm
No,
going to ignore you.
He's looking over the
He
question.
chose the table where we were going to sit.
That's right.
And
they
it was
did.
right in front of that sign that says, "We need ushers."
We need ushers.
Right after I had said to him before service started, "You could be an usher here, Peter."
Yeah, I think he's more suited for the political eldership type. That's right.
I know I'm trying to stay out of that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, he's done his.
Well, they're still looking for a senior pastor.
No, he's if you saw in the
picture.
visual
Yeah.
display
Yeah.
of the pictures,
The
he was up there as an
intern pastor. So it hadn't been decided if
No.
he's still
Yeah.
labeled as
But
an
he's-
intern.
Yeah, I think he'll be the guy. Though.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
good.
they were on vacation. So
I was going to say I didn't see him there.
yeah, he's really a nice guy.
Yeah.
Well, what
Either
are
way.
your notes about, Peter? What are you reading?
Well, I want to make sure that he sent me all these.
I sent some questions.
Yeah, and I wanted to
just
see
to kind of just
if you could live any day of your life again, which one would you be and why? Well, I figured out right now there's 33,603 days. And so he has given me a really big,
that's a very vague question.
so
So which one of those? What was? Here's a better way to put it. What was a period of your life where you seem to have been?
It's too late. You've already provided. But I did have Daddy Dave spanking.
We covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got spanked as
Yeah.
a teenage boy, which I would have had some problems with that as a teenager. But either way, I guess what was one of the happiest periods of your life? Are you living in it now?
I don't think you can look at a period necessarily. I think
Yeah,
for me
okay.
it's looking at events,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't you think that's
yeah,
true?
I have just recently worked on a theory, and that is that the life is in 3 or 4 stages. And then the first stage is growing up until you find out about sex and whatnot. And then the second stage is the family life.
Acting out what you learned.
That's right. And you work with the family all the way through your grandparent stage. And then the family is all sort of moves away from you. And you become a single adult.
You
And you
find
start a brand new life. And you do things that you may have always wanted to do,
Yeah.
but were concerned about you're going to affect your family, the previous 2
Yeah.
aspects of your life.
You can almost be a little more selfish now.
That's true. That's a
Yeah.
good, And so that's where I am right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're at that.
Everything's an adventure.
It is.
Yeah.
You coming down here is an adventure. One of the best adventures we had.
Well, I think so.
It's a good one.
It's a
Being
good
with you guys
adventure.
have been extremely
It's a good
entertaining.
I know.
adventure.
Yeah.
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 When I looked at that question, I thought about events again.
Okay.
And one of the things that I did that was most unusual in my life was I went up in a glider. A glider, and soared among 29 palms in the air thermals.
Okay.
An airplane glider.
A friend,
Okay.
yes.
So
we
someone
went,
was piloting it.
We went up in a glider. We were tethered to a plane.
Okay.
And then we
You
got
did?
up. We got up there, and they cut the.
Yeah. You did that?
I did.
yeah.
Isn't that something?
That is
I
something.
did. After
I
Henry,
wouldn't do it.
After Henry died, it was the most exhilarating, peaceful. You don't hear
Yeah,
anything.
just the
It says
wind.
the whoosh of the air, and you get into a hot, warm thermal, and you go up, and you're up there, and it's absolutely silent. It's like going to heaven. And then you have to come down.
Yeah.
And that I
imagine.
got to thinking about while I was soaring up there, and so I was up there for about an hour and a half, and I thought, now how are we going to get down?
At what point? At what
But
point?
the pilot, who was a friend of ours,
Yeah.
he did something to get us down
The
lower,
rudders or something.
and
Yeah.
it was, the landing was something, you know, when you land in a jet, you go in fast and there's a jolt and all of that, and you bounce along. We landed, and it was like coming in softly. There was no noise. There was no jolt, and we just glided.
just
and then
came to a stop.
and then we just turned to the side, where a wing stopped us from going all the way over.
Huh.
It was the most quiet,
Peaceful.
peaceful,
I'll be darned.
and it was just you and God up there.
Yeah.
It was the most wonderful experience.
Oh, that's good. See, that's
Yeah,
a good.
That's a-
that
good
was
one.
an event that
I
I
would
would do
never.
again.
I will never do it.
I would do it again.
Huh.
I don't want to jump out of an airplane.
No, but you would do the glider again?
Oh, absolutely, in a heartbeat.
Well, I would think I would do a glider, but I wouldn't do a parachute.
No,
Oh, me
no, heck
neither.
no.
I can't do that. I wouldn't do that.
I want to be enclosed.
would-
in
I
So
something.
they do those gliders by my parents' house.
I know they do. I don't know that they do it like they do in the desert.
They do. You gotta pay. You gotta pay for it, and they have
yeah.
a pilot take you up. But
Yeah.
I'm out of that.
And
but
it was
that's
just
awesome.
me and the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the cockpit, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about, you
Yeah.
know, events, because as Peter says, we have stages of life, you know, and where we're learning and we're growing and we're having children and
Yeah.
all of that. It's hard to pinpoint, but that's
Yeah.
something that stuck up, an event that stuck out in my mind.
It's a good one. Mm-hmm. It's a good one to do it.
And one of your questions also was something about what you learned, or the most important.
Life lesson.
Yes, and mine was faith and forgiveness, and they go hand in hand. And without one or the other, life is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Life is really difficult. You have to learn to trust, to have your faith, and you have to be willing to submit to that and trust in your God.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to be willing to forgive for people that have hurt you, or forgive events in your life. And then you have to be willing to let go. And I found that sometimes getting older, the hardest thing to do is to let go. Nothing should last forever. You learn to let
Yeah.
go and go on to something else.
How long did it take you? What stage of life were you in when you realized that was that's a big lesson?
Well, there's the process.
Yeah.
Because I didn't come to the Lord until after Henry died, and I was 49.
Mm-hmm.
And I came shaking my fist at God.
Right.
So
Needing
that's
some
the
answers.
process. And then learning who this God is.
Yeah. That's a
And
lifelong process.
That's a
really.
lifelong process. And then being married to Milt, who gave me such wonderful experiences with church and pastors and people in the ministry.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
we had that in our community and in our home, and eventually in that little church. And but then when you get past that, you know, you spend all your life, like Ecclesiastes says, you know, gathering up and making do and getting things and raising your kids. But then you come to a point where you have to be willing to let go of some of those things, let others come and take up the slack, and step back from things. And it's not giving up, it's just letting go of some things for other people to come. And it's just a slow letting go of things, which makes room for other people to come to the foreground, which I think, you know, I've known some really important men of the church who have gotten into my age, and they're not willing to give it up.
But that's a sad thing.
That is,
isn't it?
it is, it's pitiful.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing for them. And knowing when to step aside.
back and let.
Yeah, and Milt taught me that.
Yeah. Yeah, which would have been very hard for him, I imagine.
Yes.
That would have been very difficult for
but
him. But he understood it.
And he mentored people then at
Yeah.
that point. He didn't walk away entirely. He made himself available if they needed him.
Yeah.
But he stepped aside. And there is a time in life when you have to do that because it's somebody else's time to go forward.
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson just the other day.
How's that?
Well, in my volunteer work for
Yeah.
Friends Indeed,
Yeah?
I was taking up too much time.
Oh.
The boss came in, he says, you can't do, you can't do it every day because
Yeah.
there's people who want to volunteer.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and if I'm gonna taking
got
up
it all.
all the job,
Yeah.
why then they're gonna get disappointed. And I
Yeah.
said, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right. So we're
Yeah.
down
Other
to,
people want that
yeah, I
ministry.
get to,
Yeah.
my weeks are 2 1 week, 3 the next, 2 1 week.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
still in the game,
Yeah.
but,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's other, and I will sometimes do that at my church where I kind of want to take on a lot of things. But then there are other people that want to minister as well.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait a second, there's no reason for me to do it. They need that fulfillment of ministry as well.
And
so
the
that's
advantage is they bring in new ideas.
Oh, sure.
And they're more current than
Yeah.
my old ideas, you know?
Well, you got
and,
some.
and it evolves change, but it keeps things current and going, keeping up with the times, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's important. But it's hard for people, especially in a powerful position, to let go
Step
of that
down.
sometimes.
I can imagine. So.
It's
When we, when Northrop bought Continental Motors,
Yeah.
and I thought I told you about Continental Motors, how during the war it
Yep.
was important it was,
Yeah.
and how the infrastructure was so bad. But the guys that, the management people that were forced to retire because they've been working for 40, 50 years, you know. So, but you got to retire.
Yeah.
It was very hard for them to do that, and a lot of them, I didn't say hundreds, but 1 or 2 of the guys would be so hard for them to break apart that it would affect them physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And most of them passed within a year after they retired
Yeah.
because they
They couldn't cope.
couldn't get that thing that they used to come in the morning,
Yeah.
have coffee with the guys. And,
That's why it's so important to have a hobby or to
Yeah.
stay busy.
Yes,
and
you
Milt
got-
taught me that. I mean, even
you gotta do
in
something.
many years in his retirement, he was always busy, always staying busy. And I've seen my own grandfather, Grandpa McKnight, once he gave up pastoralship after his stroke, he just sat in a chair and slowly,
Yeah.
withered away.
yeah, that's right.
But there was no,
Yeah.
there was no another stage that he
No.
had to get to. So that's
But
what
you
I
could-
find fascinating with the two of you is
Yeah,
you're
we're
just,
in that third stage, which
There's
is
another
a
stage.
new adventure,
Right,
A new
right.
adventure.
new
But you
stage.
can still stay interested.
Yeah.
It's not that you lose interest.
Yeah, no.
You can keep up with the times.
Yeah.
And Bill used to say, this ain't my world anymore. I'm just passing through. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But you can still learn about it, and you can still wonder what makes it happen. And especially with families, seeing the young ones coming up, and being interested in what they're doing and what they're learning.
Yeah.
And
Well,
talking with them.
and
about
the
that.
two of you have a lot more influence on my generation, I imagine, than what
Really?
you think. Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that surprises me.
You do, and it's because I've gotten to a place in my life where I want to know more. I want to learn more. I
That's
want to
good, yeah.
I want to know what you know. I want to know what you know. I want to try to learn from it because you've been there and been successful at it, and you've had your downfalls, and then you've recovered from it. And the lessons that you've learned are important to me. But that's why it's fascinating for my generation to see people of your age stay active and to be involved. That's not normal.
Well, we
And so-
saw a whole church full of them today.
I know.
Those people
I know, that
were
was very
vibrant,
encouraging.
interested. Some of them on walkers.
You know what I
They were
didn't
on-
see?
What?
A child.
No.
No, you
No.
don't see too many children.
I didn't see any kids.
I said
they
you're
are
the
very
youngest
good.
one there.
Yeah.
Really, but
me and the piano player looked like a young
he
gentleman.
is, and he has kids. That
Yeah.
come in.
But those people were vibrant and interested, and
they're in another stage
Yeah.
of their life,
Yeah.
and they're really enjoying it, and you can tell it. But there's the saying, there's hope in Christ. It doesn't matter what age you are, there's still hope in Christ, and it's worth sharing what you know.
Yes.
And you can still influence people. It doesn't matter as long as you know
well, you have the
your heart's in
common
the right
ground
place. You do.
of being evenly
Yeah.
yoked with the love of the
Well,
Lord.
you look at our church. My whole Sunday school class are young married couples with young kids. I mean, we got tons of kids in our church, and the teens all sit up front, and the people with gray hair are the minority, not the majority. But and that's why I was talking to my twins while I was on my walk today, and with Sabrina. It's a different society of people down here. And one of my big takeaways was there were no kids. I didn't see a teen section, but church was church. It didn't matter. It didn't change. Church is exactly like my church. It's the same God. It's
Same donuts.
I got donuts and coffee. But that's what I find fascinating with it, with my visit down here, is it's a different society, different age dynamic.
Right.
But man, I hope I have the desire to serve God at that age.
Oh, the volunteer.
Yeah.
The volunteers
I hope
in
I
that
never lose
church.
that.
Huge amount of volunteers. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's very impressionable.
it was.
So I'm glad we got to do it.
Well, thank you for wanting to delve into our history. And I remember years ago, your son Kurt came to me and he said, Auntie Pat, you're the only one that has the complete story. And he said, please write it down someday. Well, I never got to do that.
Right.
But this is close.
It's not the there's a lot more story to tell.
this
So I
is
see
close.
some follow-up conversations in your little house in Indiana coming, because there's too much to tell.
You might be hearing from Carrie. She was upset that she couldn't have been here too.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, I would have loved that.
Well,
Yeah,
I will once we kind of break it down and put it in some more of a formal format, because we have a lot of, you and I bounced around all over the place, which is good. That's kind of what
You're
you need.
recording it, so you'll have it.
So now I just got to break it down and put it together. But then the goal is to share that with you, and then who you pass it on to, I don't care. That's up to you guys.
Yeah.
well, it's
but
a real gift, Caleb.
It's selfish for me because I want to do this, and I had questions and want to learn, and I enjoy.
What motivated you?
Well, and I mentioned a little bit to Peter about it, but I was in church and Pastor CJ was giving an account of a man's testimony.
Oh.
And I'm listening to it, and I said, that sounds awfully familiar, this testimony. And as he went on, I was like, wait a second, that's my dad's testimony. And there were a lot of details that I hadn't heard before. And I was like, all right, I gotta get to the bottom of this. So I went up to CJ and I said, hey, that was my dad you were talking about. And he said, yep. He said, I called him and sat down with him and got to his testimony. Well, my dad shared details with him that he's never shared with me, but only because I never asked.
Yes.
Every time I heard my dad's testimony, it was when he was up on stage behind a pulpit sharing the gospel and his testimony. And so I was like, well, I don't think I've ever sat down and had that conversation, which it was an hour turned into 6 hours and we had to pull the plug. Sure. But either way, it led more toward, I've heard all of these stories about Grandpa McKnight, but I never asked him what his story was or his testimony was. I heard him secondhand from my dad and my uncles.
Yes.
And I hate that. I hate that I didn't have or was intentional enough to sit down with him and ask him questions just at a different stage of my life. It wasn't that important at the time. And so when Sabrina's father passed away, there was just nothing. Like we didn't have any of his stuff. His brother and and mother were still living, and they took all of his stuff. So Sabrina really never was able to get closure. And I remember thinking how important it would be for her to have one more message from her dad to help with the closure. And so that kind of got the wheels turning. And so I have that for my kids. I have like a last will and testament, not only in writing, but in video recording and little individual messages for my kids. So that's always kind of been part of my ideas behind it. But then I was like, I need to sit down and get some of this stuff, because someday your grandkids or great grandkids, they may want to know. Yeah. They may want to know some of these accounts, and they may share same interests. Well, my twins do genealogy for 4-H, what Elliot does and Rory does, and that got us into the ancestry, and we got lots of these books. And I know Rory has at least talked to you and got some of your information. But the legacy we leave behind is very important. And now we have the technology where we have good audio, good video, and not only do I see pictures, or not only will my grandchildren see pictures of you two, they'll be able to see you live on a video. So
that's amazing.
To me, I think it's worth the effort. It's a lot of work, but it's worth the effort. Right. And so I still have a list of people I'm tracking down to talk to.
Do you think you have to get to a certain age before you get that interest, though? I mean, it's like when Kurt came to me, you know, he was an adult, he had his own child, you know, but his thing was, well, when you're gone, Annie Pat, the information is gone.
Yeah, what happens to
you know? Yeah. But he'd never said that before. Yeah. It was after he'd been married and had a child.
I think, sadly, tragedy can bring that up. And with Sabrina's father suddenly passing. Yes. Now, all those stories that we're supposed to get from him never happen.
It's not going to happen.
And so it's like, we have so many questions about his side of the family and kind of who these people are. And so that, I think that drummed it up for me, seeing what Sabrina had to go through, not having answers. Right. So I still have the luxury of, my parents are still alive, my grandma's still alive, my great uncle Peter is still alive. And I got to sit down a little bit with great uncle Nick in his last days, and I didn't video record it, but those are some hours of discussion that was important to me. So if I can document it, I think we should. Yeah.
Well, and the technology makes it easy to do now.
Yeah, it makes it pretty easy.
I know they've had books before where you could write things
down. Your biography down, and that's good. And who knows, a book could come of this just for a family scrapbook that can be passed down. And then we got a digital copy if we ever need a backup.
Right. But everybody's perception is different.
Everybody.
You know, and so when you have it on, when you're getting it from the horse's mouth on videotape, you know, you're getting it, their perception, because they were there.
Sure. You know. I would love to know Daddy Dave's perception on spanking his teenage son.
I wonder what
was. I mean, if he was crying,
I can tell you, he had tears coming down his face.
Yeah. But I mean, how fun would that be to have some of that information?
He was a dear man, and in my life, I don't know how you feel, Peter, but I felt he really saved our very formative teenage years.
Yeah, sure.
And
there's people like that in everyone's life, and it's who, you know, one of my questions was, who was your influence at different stages of your life? Who was your career influence? Who kind of helped you, you know, pave the way for your career? For me, not only was it my dad, because I grew up with him being in law enforcement, but Uncle Nick was the one that put the bug in my ear of, I think his words were, "You speak Spanish? What an opportunity for law enforcement." And I was like, that's all I needed, you know, I want to pursue it. But I probably was, you know, my dad would have said, yeah, it's a great career, you know, good luck to you. But the law enforcement career kind of ended poorly for my dad. Yeah. So I didn't feel pressured by him to pursue it. It was just something that I grew up with and I really enjoyed. from riding in his police car. Sure. Every kid wants a fast car and a gun, right? I mean, that's cowboys and Indians type stuff.
But from Nick's point of view, it's a legacy that he left you.
Yeah,
and,
I have
and
his...
him not having children of his own.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a precious thing too, that
yeah.
you were there for him to leave this to you.
Yeah, I spoke at his funeral.
Yes, I know.
And I was never really that close to Nick, but in my entire career, my first 10 years of law enforcement, Nick's name was everywhere.
Yes.
And Anderson, he kind of helped build the dispatch center that we know today in Anderson, and his work that he did at the police academy, and he's the sheriff of Hancock County. I mean, like people were like, "Oh, you're related to Nick Galling?" Yeah. And that was never... but he was all in that scene, and so I grew closer to him, but not personally.
Yes.
And it was only till, sadly, when he got sick, that I was like, hey, I need to write him a letter and let him know of the importance that he's played in my career. And then I got the opportunity to speak at his funeral. And Carrie, which is Nick's, not really, it's kind of his stepson. It was Carolyn's son, Carrie. So Nick was kind of a father figure to him because Carrie's father was killed in the line of duty. But either way, Carrie went out of his way after Nick died to give me his sheriff's hat.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I have Nick Galling's official sheriff hat with his badge.
Carrie's dad was Nick's partner.
Carrie's dad was Nick's partner when he was killed in the line of duty.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Carrie gave it to me.
I didn't know that.
No, I was very impressed. Having known all this about Nick, and knowing him from a geeky little guy growing up, 8 years old when I first met him, I was so impressed after his funeral, and we went to the cemetery. We drove through the town of Greenfield, and there were people lining the streets as we were going by, honoring him. And I thought, boy, he really affected...
He made a big difference in that community.
More than I realized.
Well, he was a sheriff for 8 years, so he did 2 terms. Went to be a state representative representing Hancock County for 2 terms.
Good Republican.
Well, he was a Republican. His claim to fame was he was wanting to cut taxes, and I don't know if you know the story or not, but this was one of the stories I got from him a couple days before he died, where he was still coherent enough. I helped him to the garage where he wanted to smoke a cigarette, and I just volunteered to sit with him because he was already put on hospice at that time, and he told me about his claim to fame of being in the state house wanting to cut taxes, and so to make a statement, he brought a chainsaw. And his plan was to stand up and make a big boisterous announcement that we're cutting taxes and fire up the chainsaw and cut the taxes. He couldn't get the darn thing started. And it reminded me of that joke of the little boy telling the preacher man, keep cranking on it, the cussing will come back to you. But he struggled getting the thing started. He eventually was able to grind it up, but apparently he had to crank on it. I'm going to cut taxes if I can get this stupid thing started. That's a funny one. But he impacted my life, and he didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And so I was able to write him a letter. But just things like that.
Yeah. That we don't know, but what it indicates is that we are all dropping seeds.
Yeah, and you don't even know
every day, whether it's in the grocery store greeting someone.
Yeah.
We really need to be careful in our demeanor.
What kind of seeds we're dropping?
Words, yes.
Yeah. We don't want to drop thorn bush seeds.
We never know, who's watching.
Yeah.
And that's something really serious to be serious about.
And to kind of touch on that, both times we went through the border, you made a point to tell the border officer, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And as someone that's been in law enforcement, for someone to stop what they're doing and do that to me was always one of the highlights of my shift. So I think if people knew how important that was to the frontline first responder type guys.
Well, it's a thoughtful thing.
But they kind of, it's hard not to, and I don't think I deserve any credit, but so when when people would come up and say things like, thank you for your service, like, yeah, it's fine, no problem, just kind of move on. But it does mean a lot to them when you hear that.
Well, I've always thought that, they sit out there in the heat and the cold and
24/7 on Christmas Day even.
That's right. And so they deserve things.
Yeah. Well, as a first responder,
and they've been really pooped upon this
Sure.
past 4 years.
Yeah, they haven't been given they need a win. They need a win. Yeah, for
Got
sure.
our fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's fingers crossed we get a win here in the next 20 days or so.
Pray.
So it's coming to the end of the year, 2024, looking into 2025. Another year, another stage of life.
2 days to go.
2 days to go.
And we start all over again.
I will be with my family New Year's Day. We get everybody together at my house. And hopefully Grandma will be up for it. She usually hibernates after a trip like this, but I may be able to drag her out there. So in a couple of days we'll all be gathered at the family, and my daughter's wanting to bring her boyfriend, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh.
Because it's a family function, and he's not family.
Yet.
Well, he ain't.
Yeah, well,
He may be in the future, but, he ain't
no,
now.
and it's right. If he isn't that close by now, if he was closer, you might.
Yeah. Well, I told her to ask her mother.
That's a cop
You
out.
ask your mother.
Did you ever think how meaningful it was that she wants to do that she wants her family to know this boy? Did you ever think?
I know why, but I'm not ready for it.
Well,
I'm not ready for that stage.
I wasn't ready when your mother got married.
Well, that's
either.
what I heard.
But what I'm saying is, from my perspective,
Yeah.
it's almost a compliment to you and her family that she wants to bring someone close to her into her family.
Well,
She's
she
not-
can just
Yeah.
when she's 18.
Good luck with
Yeah,
that, Caleb.
you're
That's
not
all
gonna-
I can
yeah, I
say.
know.
Good luck with that.
I act pretty hard. I'm not.
I know
The
you're
kid's
not.
a good kid, and I'm okay with it. But again, I'm just not ready.
So what does Sabrina say?
I think Sabrina's like, okay, that's her response
Well,
to
yeah,
it. But
that might be the best thing, and you don't want to put any bad thoughts in your
Right.
daughter.
Yeah.
I think his family, because he's got to stay at home and work, his family's gone for the holidays. And so I did put my foot down when she told me, Mom said he could come. I said, okay. And she's like, I'm going to a New Year's Eve party with him. I said, okay. She's like, he might as well, if he's going to come the next day, he might as well just stay the night. And I was like, that's a hard
Oh,
no.
there you go. Well,
I know.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I said, that's a hard no.
Because we know what happened.
There's a lot of shenanigans that goes on. But either way, he won't be staying the night, but he may be joining us for a meal.
Yeah.
So you may get to meet him if he survives.
Well, I think it's very sweet that she wants the family to meet him, and she's proud enough of you and of him to want to do that. She's not ashamed. And I think that's what hits me initially. I
Okay.
know she's not my child, but
Yeah. Hey,
Well,
whatever.
okay.
it's
the
going to
mother,
happen. I just
Yeah.
don't
The
think
mother's going to make the decision. So
Well, I've given Sabrina the green light to make that decision.
okay. Well,
But she asked me first, and
was a problem.
here's my rule with my daughter, and I had to establish this rule. She's very much like me, and so we butt heads very easily, and so I didn't want to be the dad that said no because I said no. Like I want there to be a reasoning for me to say no, so that when I say no, here's the reason why, and
There
she
you
can
go.
understand it. So I've given her permission to respectfully ask why. That's the key word, respectful.
yeah.
If she respectfully is okay to communicate and want reasoning for my no, I got to give her a reason. My problem with her asking me, can he come? My answer is no, but it goes against what I've told her. I don't have a reason. I don't have a good reason why my answer is no, other than I'm just
no.
not ready. It's no because I said no. I never wanted to be that parent. So when I don't, she's figured it out. When I don't have any reasons, go ask your mom.
You gotta have a reason.
Maybe mom's got a reason. I'm banking on mom to have a reason to say no, but I don't think
because I said so is not a reason.
that's not a reason. And girls especially, and you raise daughters, but girls especially, they can't comprehend that. There's got to be a reason for the no. And if there's not, then rebellion's soon to come. And I understand that aspect of it, but I also, I went to a class early on in my law enforcement career in dealing with adolescents. And females especially, the frontal lobe of their brain does not develop until 25 years old, I think. And so the frontal lobe is their decision-making process of their brain. And so a lot of their decisions naturally are based off of emotions, right? Because that frontal lobe hasn't developed. And so in order to speed up the frontal lobe development, I've tried to give her reasons for no. This is the reason why, because there's this danger, and we don't have time. But that doesn't always work. Okay? Even with my good reasons. But there's been a lot of things because of that rule that I've had to say, I don't have a reason, but be careful, But either way, when I don't have reason, she knows
That's good.
that I'm just going to have to ask mom. Which mom's doesn't have a lot of reason. Mom doesn't want the fight, I don't think. Not the fight, but she doesn't want the dispute between her and Rory. And so mom's pretty easy to say, that's fine.
She's understanding Rory's emotions.
I hope someone's got to, because I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it a whole lot. But either way. Well, are we good?
We're good.
You're
I think
the
we're
boss.
good. I'm comfortable with where we're leaving off, and if the Lord wills it, we'll do it again.
Okay, and I made a commitment of making some copies of
that's going to keep
Harold
you up late.
Landcore and what I found out about him.
Do you just want to mail them to me, or?
Well, if I...
Because we're going to leave at around 6 a.m. I was wrong with our flight departure time. It's actually 10:15. So we need to be there probably by 8:30, which is going to get us leaving around 6.
6:15, I can be down here. I can bring him down tomorrow.
You going to bring him down in the morning?
I think that my ride is... I have a job tomorrow. I think it's around 9, so I'm up at 5 anyway.
Well, we need to leave at 6.
Yeah.
Our flight leaves at 10:15, so if we leave at 6, it's 2 hours.
If I understand correctly, there's 5, 5:10, 5:15. I got a few minutes to come
You
down.
got some time. Well, I know how you are with being late and missing buses, and I've heard the stories, but you've learned from
It taught me a lot.
all right. Well, let's end with the word of prayer.
Please.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Just we'll kind of encompass the traveling mercies and everything. Lord, thank you so much for our time together and for our visit, and for Uncle Peter and his life that he's led, and for his example, and just his attitude and his outlook on life is something that's very inspiring to a man of my age. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for Grandma Pat, God, and the relationship that they have still with each other, and for her leadership and our family. I just ask for a special blessing upon both of them as we go our separate ways tomorrow. I ask for safe traveling mercies, and as always, we love you and we thank you for all that you've done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.